Hello everyone, this is Diane. I did one cover out of 4 for the Patriotic Journals. This was just a hardcover book, a vintage reader from a school, and quite vintage looking. And I did a video of this, so you may have seen me putting this together with the fabric and the trim and the embellishments. And then I covered the inside after the video was over. And I cut this paper a tiny bit too short. So then I decided to take these vintage pieces that I had shown you when I showed you the supplies. This is the thing that went over your car rear view mirror to show that you paid to get into this show. I cut that in half and made a pocket. I'm trying to find something to stick in there. Yeah. And I edge punched it. I had said that I wanted to put red paper back here because this is blue, but I don't have very many red papers, it turns out. So I used this one because it's got a lot of white and just a little bit of blue. So it wasn't just all blue, blue, blue. And then we added red here. And this was one of the digital labels, and I don't remember where I got that digital. So now I want to, and I did cut some scrapbook paper for this one. Now I want to start working on this journal cover, and I landed on this, an Amazon bag, and she's just the right height for it. I think it's about 12 inches. 12 inches, and when it's folded in half, it's 7.5. So this will be a nice big journal. It's going to be one signature. And obviously, I need to cover the back, the brown paper sack or envelope. So I have these I have 3 of these sheets. I think I got them in a Happy Mail because I'm pretty sure I didn't buy these. They are folded, and so, you know, some folding might show. I'm not sure how neat this is going to look, but we're going to try it. And I'm going to wrap it around so it'll cover the edges. So I'm going to just go ahead and start putting on some Mod Podge. I don't think I want to do it on this. I don't mind getting glue on this sheet, but it's hard to get Mod Podge off. So I make sure that there's some hanging over so I can fold it. Yep, that's plenty hanging over. So this paper isn't tissue paper. I'm not sure what it was for. It's too small a sheet to be wrapping paper. So it might have been origami paper, but I just don't know. Because it's not the texture and weight of a scrapbook paper, but it's thicker than tissue paper, and it's not vellum. But whatever it is, I think it's perfect for this. I love the little stars because of the stars on our model's hat. This is matte Mod Podge I'm using, by the way. And it's going to conform to the little divots in the bag, in the envelope, because there's the little foam dots inside that make that crinkly sound. Well, the paper makes the crinkly sound, but the foam dots help it. And I like that the paper, this paper that I'm applying, will conform to that texture. I know this is a little foam brush, but I don't have any of the big ones. I don't have an appropriate brush to use for Mod Podge. I usually just use a bigger foam brush. But when you buy them, you get them in bundles with the small and the large. And all I have left are the small. Gonna have to be pieced together. Oh, I should have painted all of this. Am I still on camera? I could have just glued the paper down, but it is a thin paper and I wanted to protect it, and I also want to protect that really old magazine image that we're gluing down on the front. So Mod Podge it is. It'll seal it. I would have done a patchwork look, but I didn't have another paper. I have a blue gingham that I thought might work with a similar weight. This is wrapping paper, so it's a little heavier than that, but I didn't like those two shades of blue together. So I'm going to put the long piece on the front, so we'll have less seaming on the front. Okay, so she will go on that. Won't that be pretty? I'm going to set that aside and let it dry. And then I will fold the edges over. I would like to apply her right now while this is wet, but because I want to have the edges folded and maybe fold the book in half so I have just the front cover in order to line her up properly. So I'll just have to paint that on again. This isn't sticking right here. There's a bubble. Wash my hands, wipe my hands. So we know that the book cover is 12 inches by, what did I say, 6.5? Or, I don't remember. I can't measure the front because it's got paper hanging over. So it's, goodness, 15 inches, 7.5 inches wide. Okay. Now, the papers that I pulled, the scrapbooking papers, where did I put them? Oh, right here. So I looked through my papers, and like I said, I don't have a lot of red, but then also maybe on this one, because she's more vintage. She's vintage, and I was looking at these bright colored ones for retro look, so a brighter vintage, but you know, newer vintage. So I'm thinking I might use these kind of pages for a more vintage look. So I pulled certain pages that have a vintage look instead of the bright red and blue. So I need to select 6. No, not 6, because it's only going to be one signature. I like this. It looks like an antique paper, and it's got blue and red lines on it. Maybe this blue. And I also pulled some cardstock. It's scrapbook paper, but some of this set had solid colors, so I pulled those that I can make tags with. So I'm thinking maybe just 3 scrapbook papers. So I think I'd rather have a blue than this, but maybe I can use this somewhere else in there. Okay. But I'm going to need to make them bigger. Sorry if I got too close to the camera. So the height is going to be, I'll have to trim it a little bit because the cover is 12 inches and these papers are 12 inches. So let's make it 11 and a half. Then I can trim them more if I decide I need to. But if I fold that, it's going to be 6 and a half. And so it'll be an inch shorter than, or narrower than the book cover, and that's too much. I want it some narrower, but not that much. So I just need a very small strip to make it bigger. And I'm only cutting this paper so that Mod Podge can dry a little bit, and maybe I can work some more on the cover with you. And normally I take the cut off pieces to extend, like I might attach that here, but it's only a 1/2 inch. So maybe this is where I could use that page that looks like ledger. I also have this postcard page I wanted to use. Maybe I'll end up putting 4 pages in the journal. I have this blue and white stripe that's a little grungy looking. So I can take maybe a 2-inch strip of that. And sew it here. And then when I fold it, it'll be wide enough. I'll probably have to trim some off of this. But I don't want to just add 1 inch. So I'll add a bigger piece and then trim this to the right size. So I'll use that and this one. I can vary the width of them. Try a 3-inch piece of this one. And they need to be cut to 11 and a half inches. I can do 2 of each of these if I do the 4 pages. I'll put these pages over here where I can use them for creating ephemera if I need to. And maybe I'll use these little strips for something. So I will take these pieces and, like I said, I'll just sew one on or glue one on to the edge of a page. I'll do that right now. I'll just glue. I want to make sure I'm doing it on the, I know that's the right edge, but nope. Is it 12? Yes, that's the right edge. So now our 12 inches has become longer than that. And I want it to be, the book cover is 15 inches. So actually, is that right? Yeah, book cover is 15 inches. So I don't think I have to cut anything off. Let me see. That's 11 and a half tall, so it's probably, I'll probably trim some of that off. Don't want to lay this down. I think I have to cut that a little bit. I shouldn't have folded it in half because I'll have to cut some of this, I think. I'm gonna cut this postcard page. I'm gonna plan on putting in 4 pieces of scrapbook paper. So cut it to 11 and a half. All right, this one I cut into a 2-inch strip, and I think I'm going to want that to be wider. So I'm going to cut it into a 4-inch, 3.5. Turn it the right way. This is cut at 3 inches. But this one is 3 inches, and I thought it was it might be too narrow. Sorry if I'm confusing you. I confuse myself. So what I have here is a paper that is 12 inches by 11 and a half inches, and then a strip that is 11 and a half by, I think I cut that one 4 inches. Just to get a paper that's big enough for this journal. And it's difficult because I can't fold the cover properly at this point. I'll have to find some other big papers to put into this journal. This one's still 12 inches. Okay, so I have 4 pages that are glued together. I'll be able to check them out later. I'm going to use my heat gun to finish drying this, so I'm going to edit that part out. Okay, I'm going to flip it over now, trim off some of the excess, and then fold the edges over. I guess I'll just leave that. I'm just going to use glue for this. This is patriotic glue. Got the corners folded in, so I'll do the short edges. I'd like to get the image Mod Podge to the front so it can dry. I'll just walk out of the room after that and go make dinner. Must be a little bit of a clog. I'm having to squeeze really hard to get any glue out. Maybe I'll put a fabric on the inside instead of scrapbook paper. We'll just see what looks the best, but I'm not going to do that tonight. That looks nice and neat. Okay, here we go. I don't want to mess this gorgeous image up. I think I will just paint the back of her. Now I just have to let her dry. And I will add more embellishments to this, but I just wanted to get this part done. And I'm going to open it up because there's still some sticky in here and sticky edges, and I don't want to seal it all shut. There we go. I will be back tomorrow with some more work on this cover or the other two covers. I don't know what I'll film next. But I wanted you to see the process for making the different types of covers that I'm working on with these journals. I hope you enjoyed this and were inspired to try something similar, and I will see you in the next video. Have a creative day. Bye.